Hello, my name's Becky Safe. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to look at Reese-based sound design for Techstep, which is a style of drum and bass characterized by darker, industrial, lots of sampling, lots of synthesis, just a more minimal neuro sound. Often inspired by techno, which I love. Love a bit of techno. I personally love this style of DnB. I'm getting more and more into it the more I read about it. I just love it. So this is going to be a pretty in-depth Reese-based tutorial. We're going to be looking at the modulation of the Reese, a detuned synth, pitch bend, portamento, auto filters, macros, post-processing, automation. It's going to get a bit crazy. If you are new to Reese-based sound design and you don't really know what a Reese-based is, I do recommend that you check out my first video that I did on Reese so that you can get a fundamental understanding of what a Reese-based is. And then you can come back to this video. Timestamps are below in the description, so skip back and forth to your favorite section. Let's get into the video. Here we are. And if we look at the MIDI information, it's a G, an F, and an E. It's pretty basic. But the interest and the movement comes from all of the previously mentioned bits and pieces. So let's play this. That's our Reese. Let's just take a quick look at the patch. You can see the post-processing here, which I will go into later. This is automated as well. But the patch for Vital, here is the patch that we are going to recreate. So we have several oscillators, filters, LFOs, a bit of adjustments down here, and we also have advanced tab adjustments and effects and a macro. I don't know how I'm going to get through all this, but I am going to get through all this. We're going to now recreate this patch. Here we are in an initialized preset of Vital. I'm going to be using only the stock wavetables in Vital to recreate this sound. So that's all you need is the free version of Vital in order to do this. So I'm going to have two oscillators to start with. And because my MIDI information is sitting at G0, I know that I don't need to drop these oscillators. In fact, I need to raise one of them by an octave. So I'm going to hold down on Shift and raise the octave. So now that they're an octave apart, if I play on the keyboard, we have two oscillators an octave apart, but obviously we need to select the wavetables. So the first one we're going to select is Glory Funk and Clicky Robot. The second one, we're actually going to keep it as a sawtooth wave, as if you know about Reese-based sound design, you'll know that saws are the most popular and typically used waveform for Reese. The next thing we're going to do is detune these oscillators slightly away from their relative octave. So the first one, we're going to bring it down to a -4, and the second one, we're going to bring it up to a +3. So they're slightly detuned, and this is going to create some phasing, which is going to create a kind of beating feeling. Further add to that stereo width now by increasing the voices. So increase both of the oscillators to 5 voices on each. And then we're going to drag up on the unison detune power so that we're bringing the focus more into the central voices. Then we're going to bring down the unison detune amount to somewhere just a little bit below 10% on both of them. So we're really honing in on the tuning in the middle, but still keeping some of that stereo width. Bring your phase randomization down to 0% on both of the oscillators so that they trigger from the same start position every time. And then we're going to select bend on both of them. And what this is going to do is it's going to bend the waveform at 180 degrees, dependent on whether you move this control to the left or to the right. So we're going to move that one to the left and that one to the right. And you can see how it's bending the waveform either to the left or to the right. We're going to modulate this later using the LFOs, but for the moment, let's leave that there. We're going to send both of these oscillators now into filters 1 and 2. We're going to activate filter 1, bring the resonance down. This is going to be your low pass filter, so we're just going to leave that as it is. The next one is going to be a notch, so notch spread, and let's just bring the resonance down on that as well. Let's jump to the LFO section. First, we're going to drag the LFO 1 over to the bend and over to the bend. So the amount here, we can now adjust the amount. now you can see how we're taking advantage of the bend by using the LFO to modulate it. Next, we're going to use LFO2 to modulate our first filter. So drag and drop that onto your first filter. But what we're going to do to create a kind of like wobble, but a delayed wobble, is we're going to come onto the delay of LFO2 and increase it. So it's not going to trigger the movement of the filter cutoff frequency straight away. It's going to be delayed. So that's going to give us that first wobble. So the Reese is going to play and then it's going to wobble in. That's going to wobble. So 1/4 so that we get that more of a rapid beating. And now let's play it. And I'm going to change the shape of LFO2 as well so that it's a little bit more rounded and a less kind of obvious of that up and down triangle shape. Cool. So the next thing we're going to do is come down to this bottom section here. I'm going to take the voices down to 1. This is your polyphony. We're going to take the voices down to 1. This basically means no matter how many fingers you put down on the keys, you're not going to trigger more than 1 note at any one time. We don't want that for our bass. We just want 1 note at a time. And the next thing we're going to do is increase the bend on the pitch bend range to 5. This is going to be useful later when we do our pitch bend automation. Bring the spread down a little bit so that we're kind of narrowing that stereo image, and then we're going to increase the glide. This is our portamento on Vital, so that the notes now move instead of moving like this. So it's kind of static from one note to another. You increase the glide. And you have a smooth movement from one note to another. I've been super interested in Techstep in the past few weeks, and I even wrote about it in my newsletter, which I release every 2 weeks at the moment. So if you want to sign up for the newsletter, head to my website. The link to my website is below. Stick your email address in and expect to hear from me. And if you don't want to hear from me anymore, you can unsubscribe at any time. Next, let's jump over to the Advanced tab, and this is where you have your Advanced Unison controls. So I like to bring the stereo unison in a little bit on both of them, and then also your oversampling. So if your computer can handle it, I would recommend that you increase to at least ×2. I like to go all the way up to 8 times Ultra CPU because I have a bad boy. So my computer can handle it. I'm going to select 8 times CPU. It's just going to help you with aliasing, and dependent on your Nyquist frequency, it's going to help with those extra bouncing back of overtones that could blend into your signal as a result of pitch movement and distortion and lots of crazy stuff that we're going to do later on that could potentially cause aliasing and mess up your signal. And we don't want those unwanted overtones. So you want a 8 times oversampling CPU if it can handle it. And it just starts to sound so much better. It just sounds nice. Okay, next into the Effects tab, and we're going to select Distortion, Filter, Delay, and EQ. So the EQ is going to go at the end of the chain. The filter is going to come before there. Distortion, delay, there. That's it. That's the order that you want for this one. First onto the distortion, and we're going to increase the drive. So we're getting those buzzy harmonics. Then onto the filter, and we're going to select a comb, low-high flange, and just bring the resonance down. And the mix. Just blend that into your signal until you like the sound of it. Then next we're going to add a delay, and the delay is going to be super short. So we don't want lots of delay bouncing around in the stereo image. We just want a really short delay because that's going to create this kind of metallic sound on the Reese bass. So bring it to 1/64, and then bring the feedback down as well so that it's not feedbacking so much, and also the mix, just adjust to taste. So So you can hear that metallic sound, but it's not so obvious as a delay. And then finally, we're going to use an EQ. And the reason why we're rolling off the low end is to make room for a separate sub, because now we've processed these oscillators and added effects. We're messing with the stereo image in the sub frequencies. And so we want to clean that up by high passing oscillators 1 and 2, because they're going into the effects and out of the VST. And we're going to send a direct out now from oscillator 3 of a sine wave. So sine wave, basic shapes, and that's going to go to direct out. So that's bypassing all of the processing that we've done in Vital. So back into the effects, and we're going to now add the macro to one of our effects and to the second filter. And this is going to be useful with our automation at the later stage, because we're going to now be modulating and shaping this Reese to make those kind of crazy, dirty sounds that are a bit more interesting than just this. Which sounds okay, but I think we could get more out of it. So we're going to add the macro to the drive, and we're also going to come back into the filters, and we're going to add the macro to filter 2. So that's the synthesis part done in Vital, but obviously we can go one step further and post-process this in Ableton. So instead of showing you on this patch, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk you through what I've done on the original patch, because it's pretty complicated, crazy, and this is where you get the juice out of your Reese, especially in this genre. So the first thing in the chain is a saturator, and this is being used really to push those upper frequencies so that you get that nice crunch on the top of the Reese, but also it's acting as a harmonic booster for the low end as well. Into the audio effect rack, and then I've split the bands into 3 separate bands so that we're controlling separately our lows, our mids, and our highs. On the low band, there is a utility with mono, because we're monoing the low frequencies, and a compressor that's acting like a multi-band compressor, because it's only compressing in reaction to the low frequencies. If you put a compressor on all of it, it's going to react mostly to the first high energy, and it's going to compress the entire signal dependent on the highest point or the most energy that hits that threshold. So by having a compressor just on the lows, it means that you can now shape the mids and the highs independently of the low band. Next, onto the mids, and I've isolated the mids using the EQ8, and we have a trash 2 and an auto filter on band pass. This is also being modulated now on the filter frequency cutoff and the LFO amount. So you know that wobble that we had on the LFO in Vital on the filter? Well, now we have an additional movement of wobble on the auto filter just on the mid band frequency, and this is being moved by the macro automated. And finally, on the high band, I've not actually put anything on here, but that's as far as I got when I was doing this, but you could add some extra erosion or something to crunch up the upper frequencies. Finally, another auto filter on the top, and this actually now has a set LFO on 3/16, so we're modulating using the LFO, but it's just set this time. So there's lots of movement going on in this post-processing rack, and it's all different movement but cohesively together. Lots of LFOs. LFOs are key when you're modulating a Reese. They are your best friend. And then also we do have, if you check on Vital here, the pitch wheel and the macro are being automated as well. So the pitch control is here in Vital, and I increased the bend to 5 so that we have more of a range to move with. And then this macro here is now being automated as well. So if I open up the automation lanes, you can see that we have macro 1 automated, and we have the pitch wheel automated. Into the audio effect rack, and this is the automation of macro 1, so this one here, and you can see that's moving the filter frequency and the LFO amount as well, so you can automate that to taste. So that's the automation that I've done there. And then also finally the auto filter, so that's the last in the chain. That's just automating so that it's opening and closing as the sound is progressing. So there's lots of automation, LFOs, movement, notch filters, pitch movement. You get the idea. You just do a lot of it and you hope for the best. And so this is the sound. And obviously today I haven't walked you through how to do the automation here, but if you are struggling with automation in Ableton, I do have a tutorial video based on that, giving you a comprehensive rundown of how to automate in Ableton Live so that you can recreate this without me having to talk through it in this particular video. Now that you've got your Reese bass, you can resample it and create lots of different textures so that all of the parts can go together and you can make your complete Techstep track. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something today, and if you did, please consider giving the video a like and dropping a comment below to let me know what you thought. And if you'd like to see more content from me, you hit the subscribe and you will be notified every time I post a new video. My name's Becky Safe and I will see you for another one. Bye! Oh yeah, follow me on social media as well. Thanks. Bye!